Thanks, Matt. I'm at the base of Lookout Mountain. This is Mount Zion, which overlooks beautiful Golden, Colorado and has the most spectacular views of downtown Denver. On any day of the week, you'll see a slew of activities going on here. But if you look in the air, you'll see the most amazing of all, para and hang gliding. Recently, I've had the opportunity to spend lots of time with these pilots. Golden, Colorado for its historical attributes and important role in the gold rush years of the 19th century. The fact that it is the home of Coors Brewery and the School of Mines are also well-known facts. But what many don't know is that there are many amazing sports that occur here. Activities take place here such as rock climbing, running, hiking, road, and mountain biking. But one of the most attention-grabbing activities to take place occurs in the sky.
I started paragliding when I moved to Colorado about 6-7 years ago, and I started in Boulder, which is a much easier training hill to fly. And when I felt like I was ready after a few years, I moved down here to Lookout, and I typically fly this hill most of the time.
If you wander around the town of Golden, you'll see all kinds of banners showing cool things to do, and among them, you guessed it, is paragliding. At one time, Golden's Chamber of Commerce even had a hang glider in its logo. Why does one do this might be a reoccurring question to answer. Most pilots will explain the feeling that they get from the experience as one which couldn't be described without actually doing it.
You have this sort of harmony with the weather and with the terrain, and in the airplane you're just sort of buzzing along. You don't really have that sort of harmony.
One reason that these two launch sites on Mount Zion are unique is that there is road access most of the way up the mountain, with only a short hike to the top, which makes it easier to carry the gear to the launch area, which can weigh more than 50 pounds. This sport can be quite dangerous, so pilots have to be properly trained. There are a few full-time paragliding instructors in the area who hold regular classes for those who want to learn.
We have a lot of commercial guys out here who take people flying, and anybody who wants to do this around the area is in Golden for the day. They should stop on by, and actually look it up on the website. Just do look for tandem paragliding in Golden, and you'll find somebody who can take you flying.
We have people all over the world who are enjoying the sport at all ages. In the United States, we have a pretty low ratio of women to men, but in Europe it's much, much higher.
In order to fly, these pilots not only need to have the correct gear, but clothing, equipment, and instruments.
The equipment we use to fly is actually fairly simple stuff. It's not that different from things you would find on the dashboard of your car. We have an altimeter or a variometer, which is for an aircraft a lot like your speedometer in your car, that tells us how high we've gotten, how fast we're going up or down. We communicate with each other virtually all the time through radios. We use licensed ham 2-meter radios. Our reason for staying in touch is to keep abreast of conditions, weather conditions, things that might be taking place around us, in our little micro weather area.
We can do this all year round. Best time to do it is spring and in the fall. The summer months are good. The winter months, things slow down here, but we do fly during the winter.
Conditions have to be just right for flying. Not only wind speeds, but direction are important for a safe and enjoyable flight.
We look for a nice warm, light wind day. And basically any time you can have fun at the picnic, you'll have fun flying.
The basics of flying are launching, steering, and landing.
Taking off is as simple as being pointed into the wind and leaning forward and letting the glider inflate and come over your head behind you, and taking a few steps off the hill. They're steered by weight shift and by leaning. We have brake controls that we hold while we're flying that help us trim that out and make it a more efficient turn. Landing's very similar to taking off. We come in pretty fast and we flare at the end, and it slows the glider down to almost zero, and then we just walk away.
Packing and unpacking gear is just as important as the flying itself. Making sure the wing is not tangled when packing is key in the preparation for flight, which can take a great deal of time prior to flying.
Paragliding is a soft wing, and hang gliding is a fixed wing. There's some subtleties, but at the end of the day, we're all ultralights. We fly together. Oftentimes here, we're all looking for the same kind of thermals to get up in.
It's amazing how far and how high these pilots can fly.
We actually have world record holders here for the longest distances in hang gliding. We'll get up to 10, 12,000 feet. On a really good day, people will get up to 18,000 feet. And then we'll go all the way to North Boulder, up to Lyons. People have flown to Fort Collins before. If we fly south, we usually fly down to Roxborough or Sedalia, Castle Rock. So one person flew all the way to Canyon City.
Some may wonder, is this a costly sport?
Of course, initially it's costly because you have lessons, you have gear you need to get. But once you're into it, you got your gear, you come out here and fly. It's $30 a year for your initiation for the club here. Now, when you get really serious into it, you start looking at competition wings, competition harnesses, different kinds of instruments. Yeah, it can get expensive again, but it doesn't have to be. It can be a very affordable sport.
If you wanted to learn to fly, the process is fairly simple. We recommend talking to some of the full-time instructors in the area. A weekend intro course is relatively inexpensive, and no kidding, you're flying that first day.
There's a way to fly if one does not want to learn to fly alone. It's called tandem paragliding, and a pilot specifically trained for tandem instruction gave me the opportunity to do just that.
I began flying some years ago as a tandem pilot in Aspen. I love to fly tandems. I love flying solo, of course, but at some point you get a lot more satisfaction out of seeing someone else's eyes light up and that broad smile you see at the end of a flight.
When flying as a tandem passenger, one must go through a training session and take a short test in order to fly with a certified tandem pilot. After I did this, I was ready but anxious to go. Running until the pilot says stop was the most important instruction on my mind. Then in a matter of 3 or 4 steps, we were off the ground. I was actually flying. The feeling was of complete exhilaration, yet a stability that one wouldn't think I would feel soaring over 1,000 feet in the air. We leaned into some turns and spirals that gave me the feeling of freedom, as if I had taken on the role of a bird. Soon after, it was time to land, arriving safely and smoothly on the ground.
That was the most amazing thing ever. I loved it. You don't even feel like you're high at all. You're sitting in a chair. It's just the most amazing feeling ever.
Anytime your feet leave the ground, there's some risk. And so, yeah, there needs to be some fear factor. It makes you sharper. And so, yeah, it's always going to be there. One other thing I'd like to say is we're not all just young thrill seekers out here. I'm actually over 50 myself. I've been married for 26 years. I've got 5 kids. I'm out here because I really enjoy it. And for those of us who really take this seriously, we can fly safely for years and years.
After spending time with these amazing pilots and actually flying with them, I could see why they get hooked on the sport. Back to you, Matt.
Yay!
And you finally got to fly!
That was cool! That was so cool!